Manchester United are not scoring goals. It's a simple problem, but one they're going to have to solve fast if they want to qualify for next season's Champions League. Now, increasingly, the decision to sell Romelu Lukaku to Inter Milan looks short-sighted, especially given they also let Alexis Sanchez leave on loan, leaving just Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial as the club's senior forwards. Marcus Rashford has been hit and miss all season, and with Anthony Martial unable to stay fit for a succession of games, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to turn to 17-year-old Mason Greenwood on a number of occasions. And while Greenwood is undoubtedly a talent, it's not fair to put so much pressure on young shoulders. Think about it. This is a team that just 10 years ago could regularly field a front line of Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo and Carlos Tevez, absolutely terrifying centre forwards. The club has promised to spend big over the next 2 transfer windows, and with centre forward the area most in need of improvement, here we take a look at their top 5 options. Number 1, it's Callum Wilson from Bournemouth. It's fair to say Wilson deserves a crack at a big club. He's had his fair share of knockbacks over the past 2 seasons, namely 2 ACL tears, but he's fought back hard to score goals on a consistent basis in the Premier League for the Cherries. Wilson's injuries appear to be more of a case than bad luck than that he's injury prone in the way Michael Owen or Jack Wilshere are. Despite his knee issues, he's retained the lightning pace which makes him such a threat, and he's played so well over the last 18 months that even England manager Gareth Southgate has taken notice, bringing him into the England setup. A potential move for Wilson has a slight air about it of Manchester United's signing of Louis Saha in 2004. A big fish at a small club just waiting for an opportunity to show what he can do at one of English football's giants. Like Saha, it is a deal that would probably work out, given that Wilson already has experience scoring goals in the Premier League. He averages 1 goal every 2.6 games, which may not sound the best, but it's actually very respectable for a club of Bournemouth's side, who often spend large portions of games under pressure. Wilson's intelligent movement, eye for goal, and his great first touch would make him a perfect asset to Manchester United, and he can combine well with Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. Just imagine Paul Pogba playing balls over the top of defenders for those 3 to run onto. United could certainly tempt Wilson away from Bournemouth, but with 3 years still left to run on his contract on the South Coast, it would take a sizable offer in the region of £50 million, which Man United would certainly have. Now, each of my picks will receive 2 ratings, 1 for suitability and 1 for likelihood. Now, for suitability at Manchester United, I'm going to give Wilson an 8 out of 10, because I think he can combine really well with the strikers that are already there and bring his pre-existing Premier League experience to the table. And in terms of likelihood, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. He's affordable, but I think Manchester United are looking to bring in a bigger star to make a bit more of a statement. My second pick is Mario Mandzukic from Juventus. Manchester United went close to signing the 33-year-old Croatia star in the summer, only for the deal to break down at the last minute. At 33 years old, it's clear Mandzukic's prime years are behind him, but he is a player that's always been well respected for his determination, natural fitness and stamina. And even at his ripe old age, he'd have no problem whatsoever in slotting into a hard-pressing front line. There are 2 things which Mandzukic can bring to the table that nobody else on this list can. 1 is his level of experience, and 2, his winning mentality and track record. The Croatian has played for some massive clubs in the past, including Juventus, Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid. He has 9 league winners' titles to his name and 1 Champions League. That sort of dazzling experience could work wonders with the likes of Rashford, Martial and Daniel James, young forward players in the Manchester United squad that currently have nobody older and more experienced to look up to. Mandzukic is versatile, having often been deployed as a hard-working wide forward. He's a leader, he's done it all before, and because of his age, he'd probably be one of the cheapest options on this list, and Manchester United could probably attain his services for £10 million or less. But do Manchester United need to throw money at short-term fixes, or should they be thinking about the bigger picture and investing in younger players for the future? That is the million-dollar question when it comes to Mario Mandzukic. In terms of suitability, I'm going to give Mario Mandzukic a 5 out of 10, because although he ticks a lot of boxes and he has that top-level experience, he is probably only going to be fit enough to play for another season or 2 before he hangs up his boots for good. But in terms of likeliness, I'm actually going to give this an 8. It's tough to find the right players in January. Mandzukic is available, in desperate need of experience, and he's one of the cheapest options on the list. The player being most frequently linked with a move to Old Trafford at the moment is Lyon forward Moussa Dembele. Not to be confused with the human tank Moussa Dembele that until recently was bossing Tottenham's midfield with ballerina-like elegance and quick feet. The 23-year-old French striker has really come of age at Lyon after bursting onto the scene for Fulham and Celtic. Now, being a Fulham fan myself, I was very sad to see him go for absolutely nothing back in 2014 and wasn't surprised whatsoever when he started banging in goals in green and white. After a couple of excellent seasons up in Scotland, Dembele started drawing interest from big clubs like PSG and Chelsea, but his decision to move to Lyon for £20 million was an excellent one, and he's never looked back. Since joining the Ligue 1 side, he's banged in over 20 goals in under 50 appearances, and now he's really attracting admiring glances from Europe's elite clubs. Dembele is a classic poacher who sits on the shoulder of the last defender, looks to spin in behind, run into space, and score goals. So in other words, he's a little bit like Marcus Rashford or Anthony Martial. The key difference being his goal ratio is much higher, and with the right service, he could probably be relied upon to hit 20 goals a season. Dembele is reportedly up for a move to Old Trafford, but with Lyon relying on him as their main man, it would take a lot of cash to get him to move mid-season in January. Having said that, I reckon a bid of around 60 million would be enough to tempt the French club. In terms of suitability, I'm going to give Dembele a 7 out of 10. I think he's got everything it takes to succeed at a top club, and he looks hungry to make it to the next level. In terms of likelihood, I'm going to also give it a 7 out of 10. Lyon could be tempted to sell, he's ready to move, Man United need a striker, it ticks all the boxes. Every good list needs a Hail Mary, and this one's comes in the form of Harry Kane. Of course, the England marksman would be a Galactico level signing. He wouldn't come cheap, but he's one of the players in the world that can improve almost any side. If Manchester United want a quick route back to the top, this is the sort of signing they're going to have to make. And it would also fit in well with Executive Vice Chairman Ed Woodward's belief that Manchester United should always have at least one player in the squad capable of competing for the Ballon d'Or. Kane has been nothing short of phenomenal since bursting onto the scene for Spurs in 2014, establishing himself as one of the top 5 strikers in the world. He scored over 130 goals in well under 200 Premier League appearances, meaning links to Real Madrid have refused to go away over the past couple of seasons. But it is thought that Kane would prefer to stay in England, as he's got his sights set on Alan Shearer's all-time Premier League goal-scoring record. While Spurs fans, including Matt Froelich no doubt, have always hoped Kane would see out his career for Tottenham, recent results and the club's failure to win any major competition since Kane burst onto the scene must surely be raising doubts. Coach Mauricio Pochettino's reign may soon be coming to an end, so it might be smarter to move on now rather than wait for a new coach to come in that wants to build a team around him. Few people would argue that Tottenham are a worse team than Manchester United right now, but United do have the resources to attract global superstars, and the 26-year-old would know he could be part of a glorious new era if Manchester United finally get their business in order. Dealing with Spurs chairman Daniel Levy is never fun. Kane would probably cost north of £200 million, and there's no guarantee he even wants to leave London. But there's probably never been a better time to bid for Kane. It could be now or never. Kane's suitability at Manchester United is easy. It would be a 10 out of 10, an instant Galactico hit. However, the likelihood is quite low. I'm going to give this just a 3 out of 10. Last but by no means least, it's Erling Braut Haaland. The youngest and least experienced player on this list, but one that looks destined for greatness. Erling is the son of former Manchester City midfielder Alf Inge Haaland and actually grew up in England. He's a Leeds United supporter, but who knows, he could be tempted to try and win the Premier League with Manchester United. Haaland has been one of the most exciting young players on the planet since he burst onto the scene at Malmo in the Swedish top flight, home to another big, talented centre-forward prospect once upon a time, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Haaland has actually been compared often to Zlatan for his deft footwork, physicality, aerial prowess, and a swagger which you need to reach the top of the game. After banging in 14 goals in 39 appearances in Sweden's top flight, all at the age of just 17, I might add, Haaland earned a move to the Austrian top flight for RB Salzburg and has impressed Europeans' giant clubs with his goal-scoring prowess. He's averaged way over a goal a game in the Austrian Bundesliga and even scored on his Champions League debut in a 6-2 victory over Genk. Although young, Haaland could one day grow into the perfect centre-forward at Manchester United. With his physicality and ability to bring teammates into play, the perfect potential foil for Rashford and Martial. He also appears to have the swagger and self-belief of so many of the great centre-forwards that have played at Old Trafford down the years. Although Haaland would cost a lot of money, the price could be seen as an investment over many years. At just 19 years of age, it's feasible that Haaland could be playing at Old Trafford for another 13 seasons, which is a lot of mileage whatever the outlay. But with so many of Europe's top clubs circling like vultures, Manchester United would somehow have to convince Haaland that Old Trafford is the place to be, despite the fact they're not in the Champions League and don't look like they're going to be winning the Premier League for some years to come. In terms of suitability, I'm going to give Haaland a 6 out of 10. He has all the ingredients to make it at a top club, and it could one day rise to a 10 out of 10 suitability a la Harry Kane, but he's not quite there yet. And in terms of likelihood, I'm going to give this just a 4 out of 10. I think Manchester United are done with wasting time to see if things might pan out with other players. They want someone who could immediately hit the ground running, and I'm not sure Haaland is the man for that. So there we have it, guys. Wilson, Mandzukic, Dembele, Kane, Haaland. Our top 5 picks for Manchester United's next centre-forward. What do you make of our choices? Who have you missed off the list? Let us know what you think in the comments. And thanks for tuning in.